Hello everybody and welcome to a new video. This is Dolphin. Today guys we have a new video about Summoner's War. Today we have a video about the top 5 units that need a buff, the top 5 not 5s that needs a buff in the next balance patch. I'm gonna say who I think need a buff. Hopefully we're gonna get the balance patch pretty soon because we got the last one a couple of months ago, so hopefully as come to us said that we're gonna do one balance patch, the balance patches more often, so hopefully they keep the promise. But yeah guys, before we get into the video, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It is free and support the channel a whole lot, so if you can please hit the sub button, it really helps. Now let's start with the top 5. In the top 5 I'm going to include two family of the units. It's not just one singular unit, but I feel like the whole family pretty much need a buff. Number 5 in the list, in my opinion, the one that needs the buff the least of this top 5 is, I'm gonna say, is the Beast Monks. Beast Monks, I feel like they are in a state that could be, they are okay, they're not okay, they're okay, they're acceptable probably, but they need a little buff. I know they've been buffed like a decent amount, but I don't think they are in a state that they can be good. I don't see them in high level siege defense either. I rarely see them in arena defense. I rarely see them being used. Besides the dark one maybe that has the AoE strip, which is fine. The the light one has an pretty annoying skill 3 and skill 1 actually defense break, but beside them and Ritesh maybe, and I'm not saying they are good as they are, I'm just saying maybe they are usable, but they're not the best. Sorry guys. But yeah, especially because LDs, they should be good, they shouldn't be usable. So even the light and darks, I don't think they are, I think they're okay, but they're not really good. Their base speed is already terrible. Base HP is what keeps them like decent, but not even decent. But everything in their their skill set is just they don't bring much to the table. Yes, you have to defend, but what does he do really? Because you get hit anyway. Like I personally don't really like the Beast Monks as they are right now. As I said, the light and darks, they could be okay, but being light and dark not 5s, they're not the best. Also, these videos should be about non-light and dark, so my bad. But the wind, fire and water, they're not that great. The wind one, Ritesh, probably is the best one, but even him is not the best. I don't see them in siege, to be honest with you, and that's where they were used. But I feel like other units came to the meta and became even better than them. Even their defense, base defense, is not that high. Beside Chimera is pretty decently high, but Ritesh has 600, which is not the greatest. So yeah, I feel like they should buff them a little bit more. I don't know, maybe, I don't know how I would buff them honestly, but I would buff them in a way that could be usable, because right now nobody's using them. And I have all 3 of the normal elements, so please come to us, buff these guys. Number 4 on the list. So yeah, I don't think Beastmark bring much to the table. Yes, they have some heal, they have the cleanse for themselves on skill 2 when they heal, but Ritesh has the AoE defense break. It's the most usable of them 3, but it needs a setup. So Ritesh is okay, but the other ones are terrible. Number 4 on the list, I think, I'm not saying Rakan needs a buff. I feel like Chimera beside Rakan need a little buff. Rakan got a buff and made him, to be honest, I think Rakan is pretty decent now with the 2-turn provoke. Is actually pretty decent. I feel like he's okay as he is for now. Might need a buff in the future because other units keep on getting buffs and other units keep on coming out of the game, so it might become worse than them again. But as of right now, Rakan is okay like this. Tailor and Lagmaron, they're not the best. They have Lagmaron on skill 2 has decent damage. He has a skill 3 that has AoE, can stun and so on, attack break, but they are super squishy. So especially Tailor, if he get attacked, he's dead. He's pretty much dead. He does damage based on speed as well, and his base speed is 95 also. So he has a high attack, but HP, defense are terrible, and the base speed is also terrible. He has a chance. He has a freeze on skill 3. Attack the enemy and guaranteed to freeze the target for 1 turn. So he has single target freeze. Afterwards, attack other enemies, dealing half the damage of the initial attack, decreasing the attack speed for 3 turns and reduce the attack bar to 0. It's a nice skill, but as I said, it's super squishy. So if the enemy moves first, he's dead. He's dead. Different from like Chompang. If the enemy goes first, Chompang is probably on speed HP. He's gonna survive. He's gonna survive a couple of attacks. Tailor is not gonna survive. So I feel like that base stats and the skill, and it doesn't. Yes, he has a freeze, which is single target freeze. He has AoE decrease attack bar. But imagine building a Tailor with this base speed. He needs speed, he needs crit rate, he needs crit damage, he needs attack, so he can do a lot of damage with this skill. And then he needs HP, he needs a lot of accuracy because of the, you know, it's just too much that he needs. Same goes for Lagmaron. He has a lot better base HP at least, but besides skill 2, skill 3 is okay. It doesn't really do much, to be honest with you. It does okay damage, it's not that biggest damage either, so I feel like he needs a little buff as well. He needs a little change, to be honest with you. Maybe if this had a stun, tackle enemy to inflict damage proportional to your attack speed, weakens the attack power and stuns for 1 turn with that. Oh, he has the stun, I remember correctly, but it's 75% chance. Again, he needs speed, he needs crit rate, he needs attack, he needs probably some HP and defense, so it doesn't die straight away, obviously, because his base stats are not terrible, but if you don't put HP and defense in the substats, is gonna fall. Or anyway, 75% chance of stunning also is not that high, so it's gonna need accuracy, but also it's not that reliable. 100% chances of stunning would be actually pretty good, to be honest with you. In my opinion, that would be a pretty decent buff. Yeah, that would be a pretty decent buff, to be honest. Yeah, I think that could work. Skill 2 does a lot of damage already, but again, it needs a lot of stats, and I don't think it brings enough to the table. The stun again is 75% chances, so they should bring it up to 100%. I'm pretty sure even with skill ups, it doesn't go up to 100%. It doesn't. So yeah, it needs a little buff. Rakan is fine, but the other ones aren't, in my opinion. Anyway, number 3, I'll try to speed it up now because I don't want to make the video too long. Pambek. Number 3 in the list is Pambek. They buffed him recently. I don't think he does his job well. He needs a really good. He really needs a good rune set. He really needs 100% crit rate, because if you miss the crit on this skill, I mean, you might as well just go into the match without one of the monsters. He needs 100 crit rate. He needs a good rune set. He needs a high speed, I'm pretty sure, because usually people have tested him with Tiana, but he needs to follow up. Yeah, he gets attack bar, but he needs to be fast anyway. He needs a lot of attack, he needs 100 crit rate, he needs high crit damage, he needs to be fast. And even after that, even if Galleon lands AoE defense break, actually Galleon needs to land 1 defense break on the right unit. But even if he lands defense break, Pambek doesn't do enough damage, in my opinion. His multiplier on skill 3 is not high enough. He doesn't do that much damage, to be honest with you. I don't think it brings too much to the table. Thinking about the quality of the runes that you need to put on Pambek, the damage output is not good enough. Same goes. Compare Pambek to a Kaki, which is a 4-star. You'll see that Kaki does so much more damage with the same setup, so with AoE Strip, Tiana, AoE Defense Break, Galleon, attack buff, Kaki is gonna do so much more damage, and Kaki doesn't need crit rate, he doesn't need crit damage, he just needs speed and attack. That's all he needs. So I feel like Pambek really needs a buff on the damage, because his damage is not enough. I tested him, the damage is so much lower than the damage that Kaki does. So Pambek is number 3 in my opinion. Honestly, at the same level, pretty much, it's the Wind Rio or the Wind Striker. What's his name again? It's Kashmir. He's skill free, it's interesting, but doesn't. Hello, I can't press on it. It's interesting. He gets the strip, he gets his own strip, he gets his own defense break, so you don't need a defense break, you know, and the strip. But his damage output is not enough, to be honest with you. I tested him as well, and damage output is not enough. They should buff the multiplier maybe, so he can do enough damage, but same goes for Pambek. They are like lackluster on the damage output. Can't think that they need a lot of stats to do enough damage, and then you go for it and you're like, that's it, that's the damage. So they are, I think, in position 3. They're similar units, so this goes AoE, but this brings his own strip and defense break, which is really good. It's really interesting, but the damage output, I don't think is enough. Number 2 in the list, I think, is obviously Christina. Nah. No. People might say, hey, but Bella is similar to Christina. I would say no, because Bella attacks again with skill 1 after she uses skill 2, and yeah, they're not the same. They're definitely not the same. Christina needs a little buff. She has a strip here, skill 2 has a strip. She attacks 5 times, which is nice, it's interesting. But I've seen people trying her and try using her because unfortunately they summoned her, but she doesn't really bring much. She does extra damage because of the passive, but honestly, I don't think she does enough. We know what she does. She strips here. She decreases attack bar here. She put dots with this skill on a free turn cooldown, and this attacks all enemies and AoE and does damage based on the allies that are alive. So I don't think she does enough damage with this, and the passive of Bella makes Bella decent. Also, if you really think about it, I don't think Bella is insane. I feel like Obabo has insane rune and make her work properly, but I don't think she's that good. I feel like they both need a buff, but we're talking about normal elements, so Christina needs a buff. I don't know what they should do to buff her, but she doesn't work like this, obviously. I've never seen her being used in Siege, in arena defense, in arena offense, in Giant, in any of the things that you can do in Summoner's War, any of the content. Never seen her being used, so come to us, it's time to buff her properly. Don't break her. Come to us like to break units instead of just buffing them, but yeah, like she needs she needs a buff. Number 1 in my list, for me, is number 1 is even worse than Christina in my opinion. Camilla. I don't know what she brings to the table, honestly. She has a speed slow debuff, single target on skill 2, a chance of increasing cooldown on skill 1, 20% chance, and then obviously when she get crits on, she cleanse, and she cleanse everything, so she cleanse even the CC so she can move next, and she heals herself by 10% of her max HP. Thing is, nowadays nobody builds pretty much nothing on crit damage. Everything is on speed HP, speed HP attack, speed HP whatever, because the artifacts let the unit do so much damage anyway. So, but even before Camilla, yes, she would cleanse. She would get less damage, so half the damage that she would take. But then what? I remember in the beginning when RTA was like infinite, you could get infinite, pretty much, well, not infinite, but a lot of procs. So she was getting a lot of procs, she was healing a lot, and then she would receive half damage. Then that's different. But with one proc that she get 20% HP, that all the enemies are gonna move at least once, because usually Camilla is not that fast anyway. And then what? She's dead, especially with Onimusha has been in the game. I believe she needs a complete work, a complete rework, because I think Katarina, yes, she's not amazing, but she does her job. She's a damage dealer, she does a lot of damage if you build her up properly, if you set her up properly. Vanessa is pretty good as she is. She has a defense break every other turn, which is different from having a speed slow every other game. So, you know, Anyway, guys, that's my top 5. That's my top 5. Let me know in the comment below if you think any other unit need, probably Fire Demon might need a little buff, but I feel like they do what they're meant to be doing, to be honest with you. And this guy, I've seen him in arena defense, is not too bad. He actually is not too bad. It's not great, but I feel like the 5 units I mentioned in the video need the buff more than the other units. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye everybody, take care guys, stay safe, bye.